Now, I played this clip of Christopher Eccleston on stage during a Comic-Con responding to a question asked of him as to what it would take for him to return to Doctor Who. And, well, I did this not too long after the beginning of the first season of Ncuti Gatwa's version of Doctor Who, and I think that I think it's perfect timing, all things considered, to just run back this classic one more time. Don't you think? Don't you think?
You'd all love to see Christopher come back as the Doctor, right? See? Now, what would have to happen for that to become a reality?
Sack Russell T Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back. So can you arrange that?
Now, that's all very interesting. Now, the rest of that, obviously, like, he's just going to go in and say, just get rid of all the people that were there and just, pencil pushing and just making the place just insufferable to work. But he's not the only person that's on stage. No, I'm not talking about the superfluous interviewer. He's, of course, sat next to his companion, Rose Tyler, played by Billie Piper to begin with. Now, like I said, this is just so perfect to run back this old classic from back in the day, from a couple of years ago, because we just simply wrapped up the second and final season, not necessarily of Doctor Who. We haven't gotten the confirmation of that, but come on now, the writing's on the wall at this point in time. But no, at the conclusion of Ncuti Gatwa's tenure as the Doctor, which is so funny, right? Because you have Christopher Eccleston, he was only around for one season of Doctor Who, but now that Ncuti has regenerated, which I'm not going to play the entire clip because the BBC is just absolutely abhorrent when it comes to trademark, or rather copyright claiming material, even if it's, simply being used as an illustrator. They're just absolutely awful. Like, you steal taxpayer money, so you can't even let, people just, play the clips or anything like that. But I digress, man. They're a greedy, worthless institution. But Eccleston forever was always thought he was going to have the shortest tenure as Doctor, but when it comes chronologically, at least to the number of episodes under one's belt, Ncuti, at 16 and 2 specials, ends up having less time as the Doctor than Eccleston, and we can now confirm, can everybody come to the conclusion that Ncuti is far and away the worst Doctor by every perceivable metric? Like, his episodes, honestly, like, all of them, objectively, were the lowest viewed ever, we've been over that time and time again, and even when it came to his swan song, we'll get to the ratings, and even more of a spoiler, nobody cared to even see him go. But he had the worst episodes. He wasn't even in 2 of those episodes for the most part, right? Like, in the first season, there was that, oh my God, what was it, 43 yards or something like that, where it was just ostensibly a Ruby Sunday episode, and the Doctor was there at the beginning a little bit, and then at the end. And then I think he was mostly gone from, what was that other episode? The people on the planet didn't want to get saved by the Doctor because they're too racist, and their racism overrode their survival instincts. And then this year, it was the debut episode that was just all about a new companion, and the Doctor was barely in it except for the beginning and the end. Like, even if you just wanted to have, I'm sure there are probably some freaks that are out there that have probably chronologically graphed the amount of time a specific actor has been in the role of the Doctor, and Ncuti's got to be at the lowest rungs of all of them, full stop. And even with the amount of time that he's had, this is one thing that he's got to be at the top of the list for. He has had the most noxious, unctuous, toxic output of all of the Doctors combined. And even though this is the first time in a long time we've seen anybody discuss Doctor Who, even though, a couple of days after its reveal, nobody's even talking about it anymore, just letting you know how dead this franchise is. But everybody's talking about just how stupid this decision is. Nobody's talking about Gatwa anymore. It doesn't exactly bode well for your move to Hollywood there, kid, but all right. Like I said, no audio, no video on this one. I'll just play some stills or something like that because, yeah, there he is. He's just, wandering around the TARDIS, just laughing and goofing, wearing his dress, and then he looks outside and it's like, yeah, joy to the world. And then all of a sudden he just poops out of the way. Yeah, this has been an absolute joy. Yeah, that's wonderful. And then, to some eagle-eyed viewers, you're going to go ahead and, throw your head back and go, oh God, thank God. Oh my God, it's over. It's over. No. He ends up turning into a face of the Doctor's past. Like, how the hell does that work? And it's like, what the fuck are you even doing? And it's so funny, right? Do they have the credits on this one? But no, they don't. But it's true. It's true. It happened. Billie Piper, who looked visibly uncomfortable with Christopher Eccleston throwing the BBC justifiably under the truck, under the bus, under the TARDIS, if you will, is somehow now going to be the Doctor, even though you were a companion for Eccleston, and for Tenet, you were playing very much a distinct character, but now you're gonna be the, how does that even work? Oh my god, that would be like, okay, because for whatever reason Warner Brothers has greenlit the Hunt for Gollum movie, which is gonna be 2 movies as well, but it would be like if they came out and said, okay, due to some scheduling conflicts, we can't have Viggo Mortensen coming back and playing, reprising his role as Aragorn, and we know that everybody loved him in that role, but that's totally fine because we just recast Liv Tyler in the role. It's like, wait, what? Okay, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this makes what? No, what? And it's so fucking stupid. And this has been what has been driving the conversation. It's just so mind-numbingly dumb because, yeah, okay, cool. Doctor is a Time Lord. He can go throughout all of space and time. He can go wherever he wants. There are certain aspects and some certain allowances that you need to go ahead and afford a story like that. But this is a moment of desperation. Everybody has pointed it out, and they're very, very right for doing as much. And well, there was something else, right? Because we talked about this before, and it was like, no, man, I think this is even too stupid for RTD. And he's like, go ahead and hold my rainbow-colored dildo, because I'm not done fucking Doctor Who yet. But no, that was a rumor, and we talked about it before, and it's like, no, man, that's just stupid. But then there was another thing that we talked about as well. It's like, okay, cool. Maybe both of these stories ended up coming from somebody who snuck onto the set, or maybe some people that had, inside information as to how everything was going to wrap up, because we heard, I think even before the beginning of the season, that, yeah, Ncuti's out, okay? He's going to be regenerating at the end of the season, marking, the shortest tenure for a Doctor ever. And, yeah, for whatever reason, Jodie Whittaker, for the first time, that she's even been referenced, okay? It's just very, very strange that she would be coming back, okay? So she was going to end up, she was going to be the end point of Ncuti's regeneration. Is that what's going to happen? Or maybe the scooper, maybe the leaker that was out there was just, really far back on set, and then they seen 2 blonde chicks with a bob cut, and it's like, maybe you just ended up, mixing it up between the two. But no. Jodie did, in fact, end up coming back, and it was very interesting because prior to the regeneration, she just showed up in the TARDIS rather, and then reaffirmed Ncuti that he's brilliant and wonderful and beautiful, which if you go ahead and really take a holistic look at that, it's just the Doctor telling himself that he's wonderful and the best. So make that one make sense. But yeah, Jodie Whittaker and her trademark, you just stop it at any point with her on the screen, and she has very memeable, thumbnailable faces that she makes. It's just never, ever, ever change who you are, Jodie. But yes, unfortunately, with this clip right here, they don't have the credits that just this immediately smash cuts to at the end. And then they put up, okay, Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, okay, Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, and then introducing Billie Piper. Where it's like, that doesn't make sense on a multitude of levels. First of all, you didn't want to call her the Doctor, which is okay. I guess that's just a mystery box that you're going to go ahead and kick down the road for a little bit longer. But you're not really introducing her. In fact, you're reintroducing her because you're very much relying on people knowing who she is, given the jump cut immediate to the credits. Okay, but then at the same time, she's going to be a different, like, how the fuck is this gonna work? Okay, Ncuti Gatwa regenerates into Billie Piper, confirming every rumor reported from Doctor Who. Yeah, exactly. Fandom Pulse, you nailed it on this one. Turns out every laughable rumor about Doctor Who this season was true, as Russell T Davies and the BBC went full fan fiction and tacking on a regeneration scene where Ncuti Gatwa transitions into Billie Piper. Doctor Who has been in desperate condition over the last few years. Fans rejected the show ever since Jodie Whittaker's involvement, leading to the record low ratings, especially in the face of unpopular retcons like the Timeless Children. Exactly. Instead of William Hartnell being the first Doctor ever, no, he's just a tiny black girl that got experimented on by black female master, and Yeah, you don't really want to have to, deduce how that's not problematic at all whatsoever. Just keep moving along. It seemed like a desperate attempt to bring back RTD and David Tennant in hopes that fans would return to nostalgia for the 2005 reboot. Yeah, exactly. And now it's even more member berries because, hey, okay, well, we can't bring back the original Doctor from New Who, okay, because Eccleston wants nothing to do with this, but we can bring back the original companion, who's now going to be the new Doctor, who was a companion to the second Doctor that you guys know and love, that we definitely didn't character assassinate with the 60th anniversary specials, right? Yeah. Yes, a lot of rumors were given to Fandom Pulse by an insider of the show this season, and every one of them ended up being true, including the big reveals that Billie Piper was brought back to the cast as the Doctor, something that sounded so absurd fans couldn't even believe the BBC would do it. The Regeneration scene, of which there were 2, and a 20-minute tacked-on ending that felt very strange, first featured Jodie Whittaker showing up and assisting the Doctor by encouraging him. Yes, it gives a meta-commentary to the fans again, where Gatwa proclaims he's the best Doctor, and Whittaker corrects him by saying best male. Yes, exactly, implying that she is somehow better because she got an upgrade. This is the moment of woke solidarity, where the feminist and BIPOC homosexual characters bond together in a moment that makes you want to dry heave. After more exposition explaining the ending, Gatwa then turns his back onto the TARDIS, yes, and then Billie Piper goes, "Oh, hello," and then the smash cut to the credits. Fans across the internet decried the move as yet another cynical attempt to bring back nostalgia, but also with a feminist twist. Yeah, exactly, because for as much as you remember, hey, we love Rose Tyler. She's a really great character. Cool. You also love the 11th Doctor too, and how well did that fucking work out for you? We also loved Russell T Davies when he was writing the show, and oh yeah, him coming back and being a bitter old gay man. Yeah, no, that's definitely just harkening back and, just shaking out all those member berries, just ringing them of all of that sweet nostalgia juice. Fucking pathetic. And even with all of that speculation, all of that hype, all of those mystery boxes, nobody gave a shit. It's hilarious. Like, we don't even have the +7s yet for episode 7, but you got the +4s, which is interesting as well. So basically you can deduce that the +7s, the people that would have, the additional screens, the additional accounts that would have watched the show over a 7-day period, is normally in on and around 350,000 people. So yeah, about 2.4 maybe. But the finale, what is ultimately going to serve as the series finale, got a 2.17. Congratulations, second highest viewing figure of the season, 11th lowest rating for the entire series, and this will serve as the death knell of a once great franchise. You're never going to get that payoff, or at least in a timely fashion. There's still rumors out there that the BBC could keep this on as a lower budget propaganda machine in perpetuity. Like, they can go ahead and do that because it's not their money that they're spending, but we'll probably hear something. Like, we're never going to hear a firm cancellation that, thanks to, low ratings and very, very low audience interaction, we're not going to be continuing moving forward. RTD has moved on to his Channel 4 show. Ncuti Gatwa's out there in Hollywood trying to be gay and black and do something like that. Fantastic stuff. I'm sure it'll just be a booming industry for you. A lot of people are going to be tuning in for Ncuti. They did this as simply a way to go, oh yeah, you guys are really excited for the story of the 16th Doctor to unfold because, oh my god, we have so many interesting stories. You're gonna want to know how Rose ended up becoming the Doctor. Oh my god, like, you're gonna want to hear about this, and we have so many cool stories to tell. We have so many scripts that are out there. We're just gonna need a little time, okay? We're just gonna have to go on hiatus to get everything all, just really figured out. And yeah, we know that Disney just announced that they're gonna be pulling out. That's totally fine. We're just gonna need a little while to rejigger everything. So yeah, we might see in 2027, 2028, 2029. Yeah, no, they'll probably announce some date. They'll probably tell you that, yeah, in a couple years time we'll be coming back to Doctor Who. Everything will be fine. We'll be going into production then. Then you won't hear anything about production. Then you'll just hear all of these other spin-offs that are allegedly, all ready to go that we still don't have a release date for. Oh yeah, no, we're just waiting a little while longer. We're just waiting for the opportune time to release this stuff. And lo and behold, Doctor Who will be deader than it ever was after the 1989 cancellation, because you can come back once. Everybody loves the story of the prodigal son returning to admitting his mistakes, getting right with the Lord, and then going on and trying it again. But it moves from being the prodigal son to the boy that cried wolf. And in this case, it's the boy that cried woke. And this time, nobody's listening and nobody's anticipating a return. It fucking sucks. But hey, he canonized it this year, so we might as well say it for one final time. R.I.P. Doctor Who. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.